everybody. Good to see you all here. Join us on a Sunday morning, PDT time. We'll give a minute for the folks to join because we got a great traction towards interest and registrations for this podcast. So in the meanwhile, would love to know where are you guys joining this podcast from? And Abhiraj, thanks for keeping your camera on. We always welcome that. Good to see you here. We have about 20 plus participants and keep that count keeps going up. Nice to see the interest. Where are you from, Abhiraj? I'll start with you since you have your camera on.
Hi, I'm Abhiraj and I'm from Bangalore, which is in Karnataka in India.
Lovely. Thank you, Abhiraj.
Welcome.
All right, others, just type in. We would love to know where you guys are joining from. The reach has been awesome. Good to see folks joining from India.
Oh,
I'm Anjan, and I'm coming from Dublin, California.
Awesome. All right.
I just wanted to tell I've mistakenly said where I'm actually from. So I'm actually from Fremont, California right now.
Cool. Thanks, Abhiraj.
Welcome.
All right. So we have 28 participants, but we keep seeing folks trickling in. Just in the interest of time, we would like to kick off this podcast again. Thank you, everybody, for taking time to learn about finance. This is an important aspect of everybody's lives, and it's great to see that you guys want to get educated early on. So I'm Kavita, one of the members of GradAchiever platform. GradAchiever is a free platform created to help high school students and parents to plan their 4-year journey, where this platform provides every resource that one might require, be it counselors, tutors, opportunities, which include volunteers, opportunities, scholarships, internships, and there is much more. I hope our users have been able to go take a look at platform. So as part of this platform, apart from just hosting the website itself, we are also bringing in a lot of useful podcasts based on some of the feedback we have been getting from our active users. With that said, we have two very driven podcast speakers here. I call them Joshi brothers, Ameya and Atharva. They both are in their high school journey, and Atharva is a senior in a high school, and Ameya is a freshman in the high school. Just looking at this intro that has been shared on the slide, it talks a lot about what we are going to be talking and how much the Joshi brothers are passionate about finance, not just them learning, but taking others along with them. With that said, I would love Atharva and Ameya to introduce themselves to the audience and talk a little bit more so that instead of you guys hearing more about them from me, I would love to have them introduce in detail about themselves and take over this podcast. So back to you guys, Joshi brothers.
Okay, so good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Intro to Personal Finance workshop. So today we'll be going into the fundamental concepts that form the basics of financial literacy. So as we go on, we'll explore the key principles that are essential for managing and understanding personal finances. So let's dive in and let's build a foundation for.
Atharva, let's take a break. Do you want to give a little bit of insight about your background? You're a TEDx speaker,
Yeah.
you have mobile apps. It would be lovely for our audience to know a little bit about you both before they start focusing on the topic itself. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll go into it now. So here's a little introduction to me. So first of all, thanks to GradAchiever for this opportunity to present to you all. So I'm a senior at St. Francis High School in Mountain View, California. And it all started back in 8th grade during an economics class where we played a stock market game. And this experience ignited my interest in finance and economics. And so to deepen my understanding, I took the Understanding Your Money Wharton course. And then to continue pursuing my passion, I developed a mobile app called FinLit EDU, which is dedicated to teaching personal finance. And with me here is my younger brother, Amaya.
Hi, I'm Amaya Joshi, and I'm a ninth grader at St. Francis High School in Mountain View. I'm joining my brother here on his financial journey, literacy, and I'm a strong advocate of financial literacy, and I'm passionate about making students financially literate. And right now, I'm exploring the role of psychology in personal finance. And when I'm not doing homework or studying personal finance and psychology, you can find me playing the tabla or on the soccer field as the lead striker of my team. And today I will cover the topics of simple interest, compound interest, and other related topics.
So before we begin, let's quickly go over some housekeeping rules. So if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to post them in the chat. And to ensure a smooth experience for everyone, please remember to mute yourself to avoid any background noise. And if possible, we'll love it if you could turn on your video camera. So there's different age groups on this call. So if you know something already, please be patient. And if you did not understand the concept, then you can please drop a question in the chat and we can reply in the chat. So this workshop is mostly catered toward middle school and high school kids. So hopefully it excites you to explore more on your own when we're done. So here's the agenda for today's workshop. So I've divided them into part 1 and part 2, and then we'll have a short break of 5 minutes in between. So in part 1, we'll go over a few basic concepts like earnings and expenses, savings, banking institutions, etc. And in part 2, after the break, we'll cover some very basics of investing, credit, and credit score. And we'll also play a stock market game. And as we go along, we'll also have some simple quizzes. And I'm sure you'll appreciate the homework that we'll state as well. So first, let's try to understand what is financial literacy. So to quote Warren Buffett, the best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. The more you learn, the more you will earn. So financial literacy can mean a lot of different things based on your basic education, your wealth status, or your age, etc. But typically it's the ability to understand and effectively use various financial skills for your own betterment. And that could mean you're trying to be a better investor or a better saver or wealth creator. So understanding why financial literacy is crucial is the first step to a more secure future. So by being financially literate, it empowers you to make informed decisions, which will lead to greater stability later on in life and less stress and an overall higher quality of life. And it allows your money more time to grow, which helps you achieve any financial goals you might have. And financial literacy also helps you to plan and prepare for your major life expenses, such as down the road starting a family or buying a car or purchasing a house. And moreover, with the rising costs of US colleges, being financially literate is really important for navigating student loans and for ensuring a more manageable financial future. So you might say, like, I'm just a kid, so why should I bother with all of this? So let me try to convince you why you should be learning this here today. So if you do not know these things, you'll be duped and fooled in this world, because 52% of 15 to 18-year-olds failed the National Financial Literacy Test, which was conducted by the National Financial Educators Council in 2022. And we want to make sure you are not one of those 52%. And I talked a lot about this in my TEDx talk, and I encourage you to go through it. So if you go to YouTube search, you can search for Atharv Joshi TEDx. So, but as you grow, and some of you may go away to other towns for colleges and become independent, you need to be smart to operate a bank account. And you need to spend money wisely, and understanding these concepts of interest rates and fees will ensure that you're on top of your game. So included in this discussion is how much you earn and how you spend wisely. How much you earn may depend on what profession you choose. And the choices of profession you make as a student has a huge impact on your financial status. So have you ever wondered how much people earn in different professions? So let's take a look at this information. So this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So look at the difference between what a person in an office earns versus someone who works, for example, in fast food. So there's a huge difference. So clearly you get paid more when you have to apply more brains at your job. So let's look at the wages of a lawyer or an architect or an engineer. So these people have usually very high wages. So why do I bring this up to you? Because this is the earning part of financial literacy. So what you do when you grow has an impact on how much you earn. So if you study well and get into a profession that pays more, you'll have more money to spend and to save. So before you come out and say, like, it's okay, I don't like math or I don't like studying, you should know that your chances are that you will not earn a whole lot in the future. So you might have a particular passion, and I would encourage you to survey the market and realize what you will earn using that passion. So think about, can you make a living on that? And the answer may surprise you. So maybe a career in your passion doesn't pay as much, or maybe it does. The thing is, it's okay to have a passion, but I just want to impress upon you that your profession is important for your financial well-being. So next, we'll look at this important concept of financial well-being, which is expenses. So in life, there's always going to be expenses, and I'm sure you're aware. If you want a video game, that is an expense for your parents. So everything has to be bought. We don't really grow and manufacture anything at home, right? So you can classify all your expenses into essential and non-essential. So essential expenses are expenses that can't be avoided, and these are necessary for everyday life. So for example, these include groceries, taxes, housing, and healthcare, etc. And non-essential expenses are expenses that can make your life more comfortable, but are not essential for survival and well-being. So these include jewelry, clothes, and video games. So before we move on, we'll have our first quiz. So you'll answer with a poll in the Zoom. So the question is, what type of expenses are these? Essential or non-essential? So try to just click on the ones which are essential. Right, so the essential ones were food and house, and the non-essential ones are television and video games. So yeah, this is correct. So before we move on, we'll have the first homework. So you can type any questions you have in your chat right now. And I want you to take this away as a homework from this workshop. So give some thought to what profession you would like to follow. Do the survey of what people earn in that profession and get an idea from your parents on any monthly expenses. So just become aware. That's all I'm saying. Now let's talk about budgeting. So budgeting is nothing more than a plan. So once you understand your income and your expenses, you can do proper budgeting. And budgeting is the process of creating a plan for your money. So similar to how your studies or how your parents may plan a vacation, so there's three elements to budgeting. So one is to estimate how much you will earn, estimating how much are your expenses, and deciding on the time period. Budgeting is meaningless if you don't document it. So that's what we'll talk about next. So how do you go about budgeting? So budgeting can be an interesting exercise even for your pocket money or any gifts you receive or money you get from chores. So when you want to think about how to budget, you should know how much you want to spend, save, and invest. And there's different methods for doing this. One method is by using tracking tools. So there's multiple budgeting apps on your phone, such as Step or Greenlight, Rooster Money, etc. Or you can use a spreadsheet online, such as Excel or Google Sheets, or you can just use old paper and pencil. And when you do budget, you want to set financial goals. So record how you're spending your money and think about your rent, car, gas, clothes, food. And what else do you need to do or what do you want to spend money on? And this is going to be for you guys, college or investing or in charity or in savings, etc. And another exercise you can try to do is to try to cut down on any unnecessary expenses, like the non-essential items, such as eating out or clothes or games, phones, shoes, snacks, etc. So now, next, once you have money, you start to interact with financial institutions, and banks and credit unions are the most obvious ones. So let's learn a little bit more about them. Is anyone familiar with banks? So if you can, name a few banks in the chat if you can. Yeah, Bank of America is one, Chase, Wells Fargo. Yeah, these are all correct answers. So good job. But now, think about, is anyone familiar with credit unions? These ones you might probably not know about. Yeah, these are all right. Patelco or Star One, but there's also credit union, and these are just for some examples. So banks are institutions that can take your money as deposits and also lend you money. They're typically large, and typically they're more sophisticated in their products and technology than a credit union. And credit unions are a very interesting organization. They are non-profit financial institutions, and typically members own the credit union. So you often have better service, better offers on the financial products from the credit union, etc., and lower loan rates. So we're gonna have another quiz right now. Think about, how can a bank be useful to you? And answer your question in the poll.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
question.
cannot.
It's okay. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, that's correct. Bank can help you save money. That's pretty obvious. So now, next question is, what is the main difference between a credit union and a bank? Yeah, so I see some different answers here. I think mainly everyone's agreeing on A. And yeah, that's the answer. Credit unions are non-profit, and banks are for-profit institutions. So now let's go into the types of accounts. So banks sell different types of products. When you walk into a bank, you should be literate about what are the different types of accounts to know what is appropriate for you. So let's start with checking accounts. It's the most common account, and it's probably the first account you'll open for yourself. Your salary will get deposited in this account. All your bills will be paid from this account. And checking accounts don't pay you much, but you have access to the ATM, checkbooks, and debit cards, so you can access your money. So checking accounts are FDIC insured up to $250,000. And by the way, FDIC stands for the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. And being FDI insured means that if the bank closes down tomorrow, your money in the bank is still safe. And the FDIC steps in and makes you whole, so you don't have to worry. The second types of accounts are savings accounts. And typically this account is used to save money for a longer term. And banks pay you interest. And there'll be some restriction on how many withdrawals you can make. and saving accounts are also FDI insured up to $250,000. By the way, savings accounts are mainly used for saving and not for regular use, as it says in the name. And the third types of accounts are certificate of deposit accounts. And again, these are a very popular type of account where the bank pays higher interest rate. I bet your grandparents have one of these, so you can ask them next time you meet them. So you deposit money in the bank for a fixed period of time, and then the banks give you a higher interest on the money. So if you go before the expiration date and ask for the money, they'll give it, but you will have to pay a penalty. And CD accounts or certificate of deposit accounts are used for saving for major expenses like buying a car or taking a vacation in the future. And again, CD accounts are FDIC insured up to $250,000. So the next type is money market savings accounts. And money market accounts are also common these days, and they pay a higher interest rate. So you get sort of get features from a CD and savings account. However, you should know that money market accounts are not insured by the FDIC, and there are restrictions on banks on how they can use the money, so it is relatively safe. And there are other few types of accounts as well that we're not going to cover here, but for an introduction, these are fine. So here's the next question. How much money is insured by the government if a bank fails? Yeah, so if a bank fails, you're still FDIC insured up to $250,000. So that's the answer. So now we're going to go into the topic of interest. And for this, I'll give it to my little brother, Amaya.
So we use the word interest a lot so far while discussing the types of accounts. But does anyone know what exactly interest is? So like you can try to answer in the chat. Okay, so basically what interest is when you're using someone else's money, you have to pay that person some extra money. And it's kind of interesting to think of you giving money to the bank. Like when you open a savings account or a fixed deposit account, you basically like park your money with the bank. So now the bank can use the money for something else until you go knocking on their doors and ask for your money back. So in a way, you are kind of lending money to the bank. So they pay you extra money. And this extra money is interest. So now let's talk about the importance of interest. So first, the borrower can use someone else's money and pay it back with an additional cost later. And the lender gives up money for the time being so they can retrieve it with an additional cost like in the future. And now we're going to talk about simple interest and compound interest. And you may occasionally hear variations of these two types of interest rates. Simple interest, as the name suggests, it's quite simple to calculate. So first know that the principal amount is the amount that you started with. Like you may have deposited this principal amount in the bank, or this is the amount that you have borrowed from the bank. So simple interest is basically principal amount multiplied by interest rate and again multiplied by time. And typically interest rate is stated as a percent. So for example, 20% for every $1,000 of interest will be $200. So once again, I equals P times R times T. It's simple, and all you need is just to remember the formula. Now let's take a moment to explore a fundamental concept that plays a crucial role in financing, which is compounding. In finance, compounding is a process where interest is calculated not just on the initial principal, but also on the accumulated interest, which results in exponential growth. And it's often referred to as making interest on interest. So for instance, if you invest $100 at a 10% interest rate, year one will be like normal simple interest, which will be $110. And for year two, you add 10% to $110, and then you keep doing that after every year. So this makes the amount exponentially increase, and the formula for compound interest is A equals P times 1 plus R divided by N to the power of N times T. And in this formula, A is the future value, P is the principal amount, R is the annual interest rate, N is the number of times that the interest is compounded per year, and T is the number of years. So the concept of compounding is not only applicable to just the realm of financing, but also like general aspects of life. Seeing as how you practice an instrument or honing a skill, these efforts slowly compound over time, which will lead to significant improvement in these skills. And even in this session today, it's slowly compounding your knowledge of financial literacy over time. So now here's a quiz. Which of the following is not a form of borrowing money from the bank?
You guys put auto loan twice in the poll.
Uh,
Oh, sorry. That was my mistake.
okay, next slide, please. So the answer, so it's the, wait. Okay, so the answer is use of, correct, okay, it's okay. We'll move on to the next quiz, so, which is the correct formula to calculate simple interest? Okay, so the answer is A. So next. Okay, so the answer is B, $1,050. So now we're gonna talk about some common terms associated with interest rates. So after this, nobody should be able to take advantage of you after you learn APR and APY here. But I do understand that APR and APY, like these concepts might be a bit hard to grasp, but even if you don't understand these, it's no problem because you can just focus on the takeaways and that itself will make you more financially literate. APR stands for annual percentage rate, and it tells basically how much you will be paying for a year of borrowing. So on the screen, there's like a really big formula, and I'm not gonna walk through this, but you can note it down. However, you don't need to get intimidated by that formula because all you need to know is that APR represents the all-in cost to you as a borrower. APY is another term that is very, very frequent, and it stands for annual percentage yield, which is basically the rate that you can earn on an account over the year. And again, there's like a kind of complicated looking formula. So if you want, you can note it down. But the important thing here is that there is the appearance of compound interest in APY. So, like I said, even if you don't understand the concept of APR and APY, it's fine, because what is really important to know is which number you should pay attention to when people throw them at you, and you don't want others to take advantage of you. So here are some practical tips. So first, APY is always bigger than APR. And when you are looking at savings rate, focus on APR. But when you're looking at borrowing money, you should focus on APY. So here's homework number 2, which is find out which banks and credit unions your family uses, and the types of account your family maintains at these institutions, and what is APR and APY for these accounts. If your family uses credit cards, what is the stated APR and APY? So now we're gonna take a short break for 5 minutes, so you guys can go and come back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, so we will be having a GradAchiever demo for that in the meanwhile. I would like to give it. So, second.
Thank you, Ameya and Atharva. Great session so far. Good pointers and a lot of engagement from the audience. You guys are set on a right path. Surabhi, you can take over, please.
Yeah, so we have the GradAchiever platform, which is basically to help middle high school students and their parents to get, because there are so much of information is available on the net. So we have this platform where we have the section called as events, where you can create your own events. You can it's not just, it is for everybody. It's not that GradAchiever creates the event. Is anybody can actually in fact create the event. You can check what are the future events are coming up. We have the group section where you can join the existing group, or you can in fact create your own group and invite other members of the platform. This is the members. You can actually in touch with the whosoever you are looking for. And then we have the opportunities section where we keep posting about the internship, scholarship, summer program, and volunteering. You can have a look, which actually in fact shows when they are going to close it and what is their location. And you can also, if you know about any opportunity, you can also go and post the opportunity. So it's not that any user can do it. Then we have the resource section where we have the UC GPA calculator. This is only for the University of California, where you can actually calculate the GPA which UC is going to consider it in their application. So now we have the podcast page where whatever the sessions we have it, we actually provide the information about those podcasts on this page. Last time we had the inside the mind of an admission officer, and this financial literacy workshop also will be uploaded here. Then next comes is the high school course selection, where it will actually give you a rough idea about it. If you are looking, if you are interested, if you already know what career you would like to take it, you can actually go and then select it. It will give you a rough idea what you should take, which courses basically you should take it in your freshman, sophomore, junior year, and senior year. Obviously, you need to cater this information according to your school courses availability. And then we have the counselor and tutor section where you can actually go and find out the tutors, and you can find out the counselors. And apart from that, then there are so many counselors are also available. Then we have the blog section where anybody can actually write the blog. For writing the blog, you need to go to the profile and then you need to create on the blog. Then you will be able to say, create your own blogs. Then we have the my plan. My plan is basically, you can, like earlier you chose it, okay, what courses I should have it. There you can plan your own courses, and if you have anything you would like to do it, I would like to do any additional extracurricular activities, maybe I would like to volunteer somewhere. It is just a kind of a tracking things which you can do it for yourself, and it is individual yours. Then we have the career quiz. This is a kind of a quiz where if you don't know what career might suit you best, you can take this quiz, and outcome of that quiz will actually give you an idea based on your qualities and all that, what career will suit you best. So this is the platform for middle and high school students and their parents. Please make use of it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You are on mute, Kavita, if you're talking.
Thanks, Surbi. Again, everybody, this is a free platform. This is specially designed for all the parents and students, just so you don't have to, rely on several social media platforms like WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups. So it's all one place where you can take the resources and also can contribute with the information you have. So we hope each one of you are registered users and able to leverage this platform and share your feedback if you want to see any other features on it. With that said, again, I would like to hand it over to Ameya and Athar.
Thank you. We're going to start the second half now, and here are the topics for the second half. First, we will learn about what investing is, then we'll play a stock market game, and the winner of the stock market game will get an Amazon gift card. We'll also learn what is credit score and its important role in our financial lives, and in the end, we will have an overall quiz, and the winners of this will also get an Amazon gift card. The first thing you need to understand in investing is what is an asset. An asset could be anything like a house or a stock or a business. There are many things that you may have as a kid that are assets. You may like to collect old Nike Air Jordan shoes. They are a valuable asset. You may be collecting Pokemon cards, and these are also an asset. When you're thinking of investing, you're purchasing an asset that you think will become more valuable in time to come. If you're lucky, the price of your Air Jordans will increase. There's no point in investing in an asset where the price will decrease. So think of an asset whose price most likely will decrease with time. How about a regular car? Cars are notorious to decrease in value unless you buy and maintain an old car. Another important concept in investing is compounding that we talked about last time. The more time you give, the value will increase. So, as kids, think of starting young and giving it time to grow. The beauty of this is that you're making your money work for you. Investing is a vast topic in personal finance and one you will end up learning throughout your life. Why? It's not like you're learning math, which is very fact-based. Once you learn the facts like 2 times 2 equals 4, then you can apply it everywhere. Investing is when to invest, what to invest in, how much you should invest in, and these questions are all very personal to your situation. And this is why being financially literate is so important. Once you understand what your income is, what your expenses are, you'll know how much you can invest. However, you will also have to consider your age, your risk tolerance, and so on. Today, we'll only learn about stocks, and I chose to include stocks because they are a very common asset that people invest in. Investing in a house or real estate is another popular idea. You must have heard your friends or parents talk about stocks. So now let's go and learn a little bit more about them. So firstly, a stock is nothing but a part of a company that you can purchase. So what does that mean? Think of Coca-Cola company that makes Coke. So you guys are all familiar with this company, right? The value of the Coca-Cola business is divided up into millions of units, and each unit is called a share. In fact, I looked this up yesterday. Coca-Cola has 4.3 billion units of shares, and you can buy one. And there's some companies or businesses where there are few individuals or sometimes a single individual who owns the entire business. You can buy shares of these companies only if the current owner wants to sell it. So for example, many businesses you see while you're driving around, like a cake shop or a bagel shop or a florist or most restaurants, these are all private businesses. And just to contrast, a public company is one that says, okay, I'm happy to sell shares of my company to anybody who's willing to buy them. And the next question is, where do you buy? All such companies go to the stock market exchange and list their shares. Then people like you and me can go there and buy those shares. Or you can also sell those shares if you want. If you think you like to buy Disney shares because you like their movies, then you can do that. Or Coca-Cola, or Apple, or Google, just to name a few. So you can buy these stocks through brokers from the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. The theory behind the pricing of these shares is a little bit advanced, so I won't really get into it. But just know that theoretically speaking, the value of the share is the value of the entire business divided by the number of shares. So if the value of the entire business is $100 and there are 10 shares, then the value of each share is $10. But how do you determine the value of the entire business? So there's many mathematical concepts behind it, and I won't go into it right now. But the value of the shares constantly fluctuates on the stock exchange. And most of the time, it has nothing to do with the inherent value of the business. It actually depends on the sentiment of the buyers. And they may believe the business prospects are changing, or they may believe the future profits may decline, or revenue may increase, or the competitors are not doing well, et cetera, et cetera. But for us, understanding what to buy is the most important thing. So an ETF, or an exchange traded fund, has become very popular now. An ETF is a combination of multiple companies. So for example, instead of buying companies of individual stocks like Coca-Cola or Celsius or Pepsi, you can buy an ETF that is a combination of all the soft drink companies. You can buy an ETF that is a combination of all tech companies, and so on. The general consensus is that ETFs are a bit more safer investment instead of you investing in individual stocks. So now let's try it out. So to keep it familiar with you all, I'm choosing brands that you guys are familiar with, but in reality, the brands may be owned by one company. So we're going to play a stock market game now, and here are the rules for it. So every round, so you're going to start with $10, and there's going to be 3 rounds. And you have to invest after reading the news, which I will share on the screen. So the stocks will go up and down, and so the stocks will go up on good news, where the news is all beneficial for the company, which means that the company sells more product, which means that the stock will increase. And when there's bad news, the stocks will go down because the company sells less product. And the winner, which is the person who ends up with the most money, will win a gift card. So before we begin, also, I want to say that so in reality, the brands may be owned by one company, but I want you to ignore that and see the brands as distinct companies. So for example, Minecraft is not an independently traded company. Okay, so let's go to round 1. So here's the week 1 news. Here's what it says. Nike sells 2 times more shoes than last week. PlayStation releases the PS5 and gains 1 million new customers. Under Armour sells 2 times less shoes than last week. Minecraft releases a new update and gains 100,000 new players. The Xbox sales are not as strong as PlayStation's, so it loses 10,000 customers. And for Roblox, they increase advertising and they gain 1,000 new customers. So I'll give you like 30 seconds right now to pick which stocks you want to buy, and choose right now because you won't be able to see the news later. So think based on the news, what stocks you want to buy. Okay, so it's time to buy. From all the companies listed previously, pick one company that you want to buy the stock of based on the news. So here's a Google form link that I've pasted in the chat. So just remember that you start with $10 and each stock costs $10. So just pick one and put it in the Google form link. Okay. So here are the results right now. So to keep track of the money you have, just add one of these dollar amounts to your total. And here are the results. Nike gained $2, PlayStation gained $4, Under Armour lost $2, Roblox gained $2, Minecraft gained $4, and Xbox lost $2. So keep track of how much money you have, and we'll also keep track of it on our end. So in the end, we'll also decide who's the winner of this game.
I have a question
Oh
about
yeah.
this. So we already spent the $10, so it's a total of 4 and not 14, right?
No, think of it as adding to the $10 that you already have.
Oh, so it's 14.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to round 2 right now. So here's the news for week 2. Nike sells 5 times more clothes.
Your
Okay.
answer should go into the Google Sheet because that's how the winners will be announced. Just wanted to let you know the putting into the chat will not be entering into the Amazon gift card.
Yeah. So put your responses in the Google form, and we'll send them out each round. So here's, week 2. Nike sells 5 times more clothes. PlayStation partners with Roblox and sells 1,000 new consoles. Under Armour, the factories are now shutting down. Minecraft gets hacked and loses 2,000 players. Xbox loses 10,000 customers to PlayStation because of the new PS5 release. And PlayStation partners with Roblox and sells 1,000 new PlayStations. So think again of which stocks you want to buy. Okay, so this time you'll be able to diversify a little bit and buy the shares of more than one stock because now each stock only costs $5. So the money you start with is $10 plus the money you made from the last round. So for the number of shares you want to buy, just put 1 or 2 in the Google form link. And keep in mind that each share, again, costs only $5. And also don't try to complicate it and buy fractional stocks. So the link to round 2 is in the chat right now. If you want to look at the week 2 again, here's it, where it is. Okay. So here are the results. Nike gained $4, PlayStation gained $2, Under Armour lost $2, Roblox gained $2, Minecraft gained $2, and Xbox lost $4. So keep this in mind and add to your whatever score you had, add or subtract. Okay, so now it's time for round 3. So here's the news for week 3. So Nike, the workers are quitting their jobs so they can't make any more products. The PS5 reviews are positive and are selling 3 times more as quickly. Under Armour sells 5 times more socks than last month. Minecraft just partnered with Xbox to gain 100,000 new players. Minecraft just partnered with Xbox to sell, 2,500 new Xbox Ones. And Roblox gains 1,000 new customers due to a new update. So again, I'll give you like 30 seconds to pick which stock you want to buy. Think of any multiple stocks too. Okay, so I'll move on right now. It's time to buy. So this time again, you start with whatever the $10 plus the money you made or lost in the last 2 rounds, except this time, each stock costs $2 now. So now you'll be able to buy even more shares from the money you made in the previous rounds. So again, answer your answers in the Google form link for round 3. And if you want to look again, this is the news. So you can pick so many more stocks now. Okay, so here are the results for round 3. Nike lost $2, PlayStation gained $2, Under Armour lost $2, Roblox gained $2, Minecraft gained $4, and Xbox lost $2. So keep track of how much money you gained or lost throughout this whole thing. And yeah, just keep track of how much money you have in the end, and we'll verify the winner and then send the gift card to whoever the winner is based on the Google form responses. Okay. So next we'll go into the concept of credit and credit scores. So what is credit? If you borrow a video game from your friend, then what is that friend likely to expect? Well, the friend will expect that you will eventually return the video game. And he will also likely expect that you let him borrow your video game in the future. When you borrow the money from a bank, you're expected to pay it back. Credit is the money you borrow with the expectation that you will repay it in the future. You can borrow money to buy a house. And now the bank in that case says, okay, if you buy a house with my money, I will have a claim on that house if you don't pay me back. And this is called secured credit. But there are other types of credit where the bank just gives you money without laying a claim on anything in particular. Like you can go to a bank and ask for a $5,000 loan for buying furniture. These types of loan are called unsecured credit. But aren't banks afraid that they'll lend you money and you'll just run away with it? So believe me, this happens in real life. It's not often, but it still happens. So banks look at what is commonly known as the 3 C's. Unknowingly to you, they're checking stuff about you before they decide that it's okay to give money to you. And these things are not very different from what you do, perhaps unconsciously. So let's say a friend comes to you and says, hey, can you lend me $100? I'm short of $100 for my new laptop. And you're going to think, will this guy have the ability to repay me? Does he have a job? Is he coming from a well-off family? Or what is his situation? Then you'll also probably will think about his past behavior. If you've heard from others that this friend of yours borrows money but does not pay it back, will you lend the money to him? Well, no. This is reliability. And then you may think, okay, for some reason he loses the ability to repay. Does he have a backstop? So can he sell the laptop and give me money back or get money from his dad? And this is called the collateral. But what happens if you do not like the person? Like the banks, people walk into banks every day. Banks don't even know you. So how do they even decide whether to lend money to you or not? So one of the main things that they look at is your credit score. So we'll talk about that in the next slide. And this is the last topic that we'll cover in this financial literacy workshop. So credit score is a very apt topic because in some ways it brings together many topics together. So first, what is credit score? In much the same way that your GPA tells the story of your success as a student, your credit score tells the story of your character as it relates to credit. Your GPA affects which college you may attend, and your credit score will affect many things in your life, such as student loan eligibility, your car loan, credit card, etc. So your credit score is basically your financial GPA. And this financial GPA ranges between the numbers 300 and 850. However, there's a major difference between GPA and credit score. GPA is cumulative, which means that every grade you've earned factors equally into that one number. In contrast, your credit score is more of a snapshot of your creditworthiness at a given point in time. And as you get older and have more credit and more types of credit, the older items matter less and less. And if you don't understand what are the important items considered in calculating the score, you can take actions to improve your score. So in the US, FICO score is very popular with all of the lenders. And FICO score uses many different pieces of credit data. And this data is grouped into 5 categories. One is payment history, which has a 35% weightage. The amounts you owe has a 30% weightage. The length of credit history, which means for how long you've been transacting, has a 15% weightage. New credit, which means how recently you have borrowed, has a 10% weightage. And credit mix, which means how many different types of borrowing you have, like credit cards or mortgage or auto loan, etc., has a 10% weightage. It's important to know that while calculating your FICO score, it takes into account both positive and negative things. And this gives you enormous ability to work on improving your credit score. Okay, so this is a quiz for the overall workshop as a whole. And while you do the quiz, we'll just stay here in case you have any questions. And we'll reach out to the winners of the stock market game and quizzes over the next few days. And the person who gets most right on this quiz, or people who get most right on this quiz, will also get an Amazon gift card. So yeah, thank you all for participating.
Thank you, Atar and Ameya. This was a great session. It's really amazing to see all our audience here who are sort of, totally aware of what these financial concepts are, and were quite collaborative in the session. Thanks, everybody. But again, you can stop sharing, Atar. We can open it up for any questions that folks may have.
So we have a question already from our audience. Siddhant asked this question. It is, if I'm buying a stock, is it like buying a portion of a company?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Anyone? Do you have any more questions?
You can ask the questions here or put it in the chat if you're camera shy.
I had a question. So, essentially, if you were to buy a stock of a company, does that define its valuation, or does the valuation define the price you're paying for the stock? Like, what is the relationship between those two?
So basically the number of people who buy and sell the stock, that's what determines the price of it. So if more people buy and sell, then the price will go higher.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, anyone? All right. No questions on chat either. But again, thank you all for your valuable time here. Take a few minutes to give a little bit of feedback. to all
Atarva
of us.
and Amaya, one thing would like to ask, like, when can they expect to hear it? Who is the winner? And how will they get to know, basically?
Yeah, so we'll email the winners in approximately, I think, 1 week. So it'll take some time to go through all of the responses.
Cool.
All right, then. I think we are at the end of the podcast. Again, appreciate all of your time and participation here. Thank you, our honored speakers here, Athur and Ameya, for sharing all your insights into getting everybody along with you in this financial journey. Have
Uh,
a good rest of the Sunday, everyone.
I had a question before we ended. So,
Sure.
is this is the presentation going to be shared with us through like email, or is it going to be on your website?
We will be sharing the entire podcast itself, the recording of this on the website. So
Okay.
you'll have access to everything that is being presented on there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, then. Thanks,
Good.
everyone. Appreciate your time. Have a good rest of the Sunday.
You too.
Bye.